And now, our next speaker, Geert Wilders.
Thank you for inviting me to come to this beautiful Bornholm. It's a pleasure for me and an honor for me to be here, and I'm very proud to be here. And I even would like to say, I don't know if I say it well, but Jeg elsker Denmark. I know not everybody from Denmark loves me, but the other way around, it's okay. I don't only love Denmark, I also love the free speech society. I know there were many people, I followed the press from abroad, from Holland, the last few weeks and months, and I know that there was an enormous request to disinvite me. But the Free Press Society did not disinvite me. They did not give in to the demands of all those people who did not want me to come. And they also did not stop the gathering, even though there were extremists that might have been willing and prepared to use even violence to stop this meeting to be realized. And once again, the Free Press Society did not bow to intimidation. And I think, on behalf of everybody here, I hope we don't disagree on that issue, I applaud the Free Press Society, and I would like to give them an applause just for that. In the breast of the Danish people, I've been told, is the true spirit of Holger Danske. The realization that if we do give in to intimidation and threats, we are bound to lose our freedom. And we will never let that happen, because we are indeed the free men and women of the West. And last month, I was in Garland, Texas, at a contest of an exhibition of Mohammed cartoons. And the event was organized at exactly the same location where in January, after the Charlie Hebdo assassinations, an Islamic organization convened to demand that the Mohammed cartoons would be forbidden. So it's important for you to know that the Garland event was not organized to provoke. It was not a provocation. It was to make a stand. To make a stand that the Islamic demand that we censor ourselves, that in fact is the real provocation. And every demand that we give up our freedom of speech, I believe, is intolerable. It's an intolerable provocation which we should never leave unanswered. We have been born, almost all of us here, in free Western nations. And freedom, as a matter of fact, is our birthright. And those who want to deny it to us do not belong in our societies. It's as simple as that. And as you probably have heard, the Garland event was attacked by jihadis that had connections, as it seems, with the Islamic State. They shot a policeman in the leg, but fortunately the American police shot them before they could do more harm and shed more innocent blood in America. And after the Garland attack, I proposed on American television, it was on Fox News, that we exhibit the Garland cartoons everywhere in the free world. The only reaction that we have is to show them everywhere in the world. Because I believe that the only way to show terrorists that they are not going to win is to do exactly what they do not want us to do. That can be the only answer. Not as a provocation, but to show them that we will never give in to violence. So for that reason, and once again, not as a provocation, I will show the Garland cartoons on Dutch state television next Saturday in the broadcasting time allotted to my party. Once again, to show them that we will not be intimidated by violence. To show them that we will never submit. It's the only way to make clear that we will never surrender and that we will remain the free people of the world. And I know very well Mr. Rose, who I respect a lot, even though I understand now that we disagree on many issues, but that I respect a lot, already said, and there are probably more people in the room that agree with Mr. Rose, and there's nothing wrong with that, that tell me that, Mr. Wilders, you are an advocate of free speech, but you want to ban the Quran. You want to close down mosques and Islamic school, and indeed, is that not a contradiction? And that is a fair question. So I will try to answer that question. My answer to you is, it is not. It is not a contradiction. And there are at least 3 good reasons why. First, because freedom is living in the truth. Second, because freedom means that we say no to slavery. And third, because freedom is also that we learn from mistakes that we made in the past. The first point I want to make is that indeed living in the truth is acting in recognition of reality. And what is the reality today? The reality is that Islam is not only a totalitarian ideology, but it also wants to establish tyrannical power over non-Muslims. The reality is as well, whether we like it or not, that Islam commands its followers to make all nations submit to Islamic Sharia law, wherever and whenever they have the power and the opportunity to do so. And if necessary, even through the means of violence and terror. The reality, ladies and gentlemen, is as well that Sharia law that comes together with Islam is a mortal danger, nothing less than a mortal danger to our way of life, our constitution, our laws and our liberties. It is a matter of our existence. It is a matter of the survival of our societies. And the freedom to propagate a political system that says we'll slit your throat if you draw a cartoon, well, I certainly will not allow it, that kind of freedom, here. If you want that kind of freedom, please move to either Saudi Arabia, Iran or Pakistan or any other country in the world. I believe that Islam indoctrinates people with hatred against our societies, and unfortunately, very successfully. Islamic terrorists are a minority. We all know that. But polls suggest that they have the support of a majority. And let me tell you one survey that an independent bureau called Motivaction did in the Netherlands, not so long ago. That survey revealed that 73%, almost 3/4 of the Islamic population in the Kingdom of the Netherlands consider Muslims who go to Syria to fight the jihad as heroes. You heard it right. 3/4 of the Muslims in Holland believe that jihadists going to wage jihad in Syria are heroes. And 80% of the Turkish youth in the Netherlands even believe that the use of violence by groups like the Islamic State against non-believers is not a wrong thing. 80%. 4 out of 5 of the Turkish youth in Holland, and we have a lot, believe that violence against non-believers is not a bad thing. And may I ask you, where are the mass demonstrations of 10,000s of Muslims in Copenhagen, in Amsterdam, in New York, in London, in Nairobi, wherever, anywhere else in the world, that to tell the people that they do not agree with the violence, or that this is not their Islam, that they don't believe that is the real interpretation of their Islam. Where are those demonstrations? Where are they, those big minorities that don't adhere to that everybody is talking about if you believe the press? Well, I haven't seen them, You haven't seen them for the simple reason that there have not been any. And I agree with everybody who says that, of course, it's a minority who commits the violence. The majority does not commit violence. But do they oppose it? And do they show that they oppose it? We cannot put our hands in the sand and do as if all these facts do not exist. We have to face the reality. And let's look back. I know it might be uncomfortable, but we have to learn lessons from the past. Look what happened in Nazi Germany in the last century. Also at that time, it was only a minority who committed all those terrible crimes and those atrocities. But the majority, even then, the majority allowed it to happen. Were all Germans bad people? They were not. But the majority allowed the minority, even then, for those most terrible things to happen. And in the Soviet Union too, it was only a minority that committed horrible crimes, but the majority allowed them to happen. And we also have to realize that we are defending not only our liberties, but also our identity. And I believe that our identity of the free Western world is certainly not based on Islamic identity, but on Judaism, on Christianity, on humanism. And that's where our freedom comes from. And by depriving Islam of the means, as I see it, to destroy our identity, we are not violating freedom, we are guaranteeing freedom. And I believe we should do that. It would be contradictory to sing the praise of freedom while at the same time standing idly by when Islam is eating away our freedoms. And I say, stop this charade. We should not turn freedom into a snake eating its own tail. Then the second reason. Islam wants to enslave us all to Sharia law and kill everyone who resists or dares to reject it. And indeed, I use the words that Abraham Lincoln, the President of the United States, who freed his country from slavery, said, "Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves." And I agree. But I also believe it is not wrong to discriminate between good and evil, between democracy and tyranny, between freedom and slavery. And the terrible situation that we are in today is caused by our tolerance of evil. We are too tolerant to the ones that are intolerant to us. We are too tolerant for Islam being an intolerant ideology towards us. And we believe, Mr. Rose and maybe other people here believe, that by allowing freedom to the enemies of freedom, we prove the world that we stand for freedom. But in reality, by refusing to draw the boundaries of our tolerance, we are handing away our freedom. I do not want Sharia law in the West. I want the West to stay free of Sharia law. And the choice is, to be frank, either Sharia law or freedom. We cannot have it both ways. We cannot compromise or politically correct deal with both of them. We should not be so tolerant that we open the door to the horror of intolerance. I believe it's our duty as Western patriots to protect our children from slavery, to adopt a sensible view of freedom, and to secure the existence and the continuation of a free society. And then shortly also the third reason. Let us not repeat the terrible mistakes of the past. And although we barely escaped catastrophe 70 years ago, again our Western leaders today are making the same mistakes that the European leaders made in the 1930s. They are appeasers. They are appeasing Islam and refuse to see it for what it really is, a totalitarian and dangerous ideology. Look what happened this year. We all saw what happened in Paris in Copenhagen and Belgium, all over the world. We saw the most terrible attacks, and we cannot close our eyes for this. They have all one thing in common. They have all been committed in the name of Islam. Nobody can say that we have not been warned. So let us stop bowing to Islam. No appeasers anymore. We live in an age where people like the idea of rights, so long as they do not have to pay the price for it. And the political and the media elites are all in favor of speaking the truth, so long as this truth is nothing more than a cliché. But when duty comes, when honor commands us to stand up throughout history and yell stop, they flee away. They lose their patience with those who fight for freedom. They call us bigots or extremists. They drag us to court. They try to silence us. But, my friends, I don't care. And I don't believe you should be fooled yourselves as well. Learn one thing about Islam. Learn one thing about Churchill. Churchill warned that when somebody threatens to kill you, you better take him seriously and you do everything you can to stop him. And we all know that freedom has a price and that the truth is not a cliché. And we have to pay the price, even if the price is uncomfortable. We have to make a choice. And it's the choice at the end of the day between either Islam or freedom. That is the choice we have to make. There is no middle way. We can grant all the freedoms to Islam that we want, but we will finish the day by losing our own freedoms. So I believe we should not do that. Does it mean that I believe that Muslims are bad people? Of course they are not. There are very many friendly Muslims. When I was still able to, before 10 years, I traveled all over the Middle East, from Egypt to Iran, from Afghanistan to Lebanon, and I met so many friendly and respectable people. So it's not a fight against the people. It's not a fight against Muslims. It's a fight against the ideology that at the end of the day will call us our freedom. Let me give you a few more numbers before I finish my speech. The reality is that there are not just a few extremists in our midst, unfortunately. Recent research done by the University of Amsterdam showed that 11% of the Muslims in the Netherlands say that they are prepared to use violence for the sake of Islam. One can say, well, it's only 11%, but it's more than 100,000 people who are living in the Netherlands and who are saying that today they are willing to use violence if it's good for Islam. I have no figures for Denmark. I don't know if it's different here, but I know the figures in Holland, and it's a terrible thing, and it's a reality. It's a reality that we should face. Political correctness seldom helps to solve the problems. I have some other figures, but they go about the demography in Denmark, and I think because of the time I better skip that. But let me tell you that demography is important, but immigration as well. And we all know that currently 1 million immigrants, mostly from Islamic countries, are waiting in Northern Africa to cross Europe. And if we do not stop that, it will be an enormous catastrophe. And that is why I urge Europe to adopt the Australian method. Australia is a well-respected country. Australia sends all the immigrants back without exceptions. And if they need to be provided by a safe boat, with air conditioning, with food, with water, they will be provided by a safe boat. Nobody should drown. But they do send everybody back. And what is the message? What is the message that the human traffickers, who are millionaires today, what is the message to all those poor people who are drowning today in the Mediterranean? The message is today that if you take a chance, you will be picked up with one of the vessels and not taken back, but taken to Greece or taken to Italy or taken to any other countries. So the human traffickers will get even more richer, and the poor people will even try more and pay more to reach Europe. So I believe that we should do what the Australians do. Send them all back in a safe way. You will make sure that the traffickers will get no more money, and you are also sure that the people will not drown. Do not think, because this is now happening in the European Commission, that if we do not act accordingly, if we take them all in and we divide them over the countries, that Denmark will escape from that catastrophe. You will not. Even if you have an opt-out from the immigration policy, you are a member of Schengen, and 90% that will be entered will go illegally to the north, where they have a better time. Worldwide, ladies and gentlemen, worldwide, the growth rate of Islam is more than double of the growth rate of Christianity. By 2070, Islam will be the #1 religion in the world. Do not think that this will not affect our future generation. And I believe that if Christianity or Buddhism, if they would be dominant, would become dominant in the world, there would be hardly a problem of freedom of speech. But I believe you, I promise you, that if we allow Islam to become the major force and to grow in the Western countries, that it's going to be hell for everyone. And I want you to know that it will happen. It will happen anywhere where Islam becomes more prominent. And to those who criticize me for my views about Islam, I tell them that if you allow the situation to deteriorate, if you allow to grant an ideology that is at war with us, to give them more and more civil rights, then you will end up in a world where churches will be closed, where Christian schools will be closed, where women and homosexuals will be treated badly. And if you don't believe me, what is happening here, look at every country in the Arab and Islamic world where the Islam is already dominant today. It is happening there. I'm not inventing it. It is happening there, and it will happen here. So, if we want to keep our freedoms, we will have to be brave. We will have to resist Islam. We have to defend liberty. We must draw the line. There is more than enough Islam in our countries already. We have to stop the mass immigration to our Western countries. And to those people that are already in our countries, of course, if they abide by our laws, our constitution and our values, they are not only free to stay, but equal as anybody else. But if they don't, if they start acting according to Sharia, if they commit violent crimes, I believe we should expel them. We have no obligations to Islam. We owe nothing to Islam. And we must realize that with every more mosque, halal shop, Islamic school, every burqa is being seen by Islam as an ultimate step, a next step to the goal of our submission. I believe we are at crossroads today, and we must choose. We must be brave. Freedom of speech, yes, it's under attack. But if we do nothing, we will lose it. And the choice is not between freedom of speech or censorship. The choice is between appeasement and resistance. We cannot have it, you cannot have it both ways. There is no middle way. Unfortunately, more and more people all over the world are becoming aware of what is at stake. They all love their children. They all love their countries. They all want their countries and their children to remain free. But we have to do our duty, and we have to be brave. And if that means that we are politically incorrect, we have to be politically incorrect. We are at war, and we should win it. Thank you very much.